My name is Petrona Spaulding, and what I chose to talk about is cultural shock because that's what I experienced when I first came to this country from Jamaica. I was surprised and confused at all the differences, and living in a new and familiar culture I knew would require a lot of adjustment and getting used to. I had questions, and not even my families had answers to. There were different factors that contributed to my culture shock. There were the differences in language, the differences in morals, the differences in dress, the differences in food, and but my biggest shocker was the attitude of some of the students and the way they spoke to some of these teachers, very disrespectful. And in my culture, that was not tolerated. That would have never been accepted at all. And also, there were the different rules and procedures in school that's way different from what I'm used to. Students would not have gotten off so easily being rude and disrespectful to others having authority over them. And as I say this, my mind goes back to Clint Smith's presentation on the danger of being silent. There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself if you're being respectful, but if you're going to be disrespectful, I think sometimes it's best, to just stay silent. It took me a while, it took me months to get adjusted to the new culture and the new surroundings and the new things and different ways of doing things. But I managed to make some friends, and I made friends that were from my culture, friends that came to this country before I did. But I wanted to know so much more about the cultures and the diversity of people and things. I started asking questions to my friends, and I was introduced by a classmate to a teacher that recommends programs for students that was going through a culture shock as I was. And that's when I learned about the Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs and the programs and events that they sponsored. So I got involved and I started going to these programs, and I was learning so much about the diversity of people and the different cultures. There was Cuban students from Cuba in my school, Argentina, students from Haiti, the Bahamas, the Virgin Islands, and I started getting involved in all the activities, and I was learning so much more to the point where I started speaking a little bit of Spanish, and I some of these things that I was learning from other cultures, I brought into my home. So through the Miami-Dade Department of Cultural Affairs was founded the Culture Shock of Miami, and through these programs they had programs. Through these programs, they had events for students of all ages. There were programs for young adults, for teens, and for children. What I like about the programs through the Miami-Dade Department of Cultural Affairs was that these programs were diverse and they targeted a wide range of ages. And there were different performances. There were dances and museums and landmarks and cultural destination in and around Miami-Dade County. The program opened up many channels by which we can learn about other cultures and other cultures can learn about us. It prepares you to adapt and to adjust and to learn about others in many different ways. I remember one of the programs I went to was similar to that of Harris Black, The Power of Self-Acceptance. And this program was presented in downtown Miami. And as I thought about his presentation, I remember when I was in school and coming in from another culture, from another country, speaking English but with a different accent, students would sometimes make fun of you, but I wasn't intimidated and it didn't affect me much because as I started going to these programs, I learned to accept who I am. I learned to accept my culture, and I learned to accept other people's culture and accept other people for who they are. What I plan on doing with this experience that I've learned, that I've gained from my culture shock and what I went through, I can take all this information into the classroom. This way I can meet the needs of my students coming from other cultures, and I can help them to adapt and to fit in and help them to learn about other cultures and help them to accept themselves for who they are, and also help them to accept other people and teach them about the diversity and how we're all unique and special in our own ways, and we can all learn from each other.